When I was probably, let's see, I would have been about 11 years old, my dad bought me a computer called an MSX. So the MSX was like an early 8-bit computer in the same kind of sort of era as the Sinclair Spectrum and the Commodore 64. And in those days, if you wanted to get your computer to do anything useful, you pretty much had to program it. So you used to get magazines and with programs, printed programs in these magazines that I used to type in. So after a while I was typing in these programs and modifying them just to see what would happen, and that's kind of how I learned programming. But the thing that used to excite me in those days was really just the idea of just making the things move around the screen by themselves. And so, with my MSX, I used to make lots of little simple games. I kind of learned by just typing in programs from magazines and modifying them. And I have to say it was a real thrill just to be able to get the things to move around the screen by themselves, and that's still kind of what excites me about game development. It's like making little worlds, putting little rules together, and then just letting the things go and move by themselves. So I suppose making games is probably for me. I love programming, I love computer science, and I love code. But going back to my previous point, I love more than anything else making the little things move around the screen by themselves. So actually, there's loads of things I could say about what it means to me. For me, it's exciting, it's thrilling, it's creative. I mean, it brings out my inner child. That's the way I would think of it. I find it just a very creative activity, and it's something that can absolutely consume you. In terms of your time. There's this concept of flow. Getting into a flow state, and a lot of people get into a flow state when they play games. For me, I get into a flow state when I code, and just making little worlds, making little rules for the worlds, and just making the little things evolve and making them sort of just do their own thing. I find that absolutely thrilling. So a couple of things I'd say. First of all is to be brave and start making things. Use whatever tools you're comfortable with using. Could be GameSolid, could be GameMaker. For me, it's things like processing and then Unity. So just not to be afraid to kind of just experiment and make things. Start showing them to other people. There's a couple of very specific things I'd say. So number one, I'd say is get a Twitter feed and start tweeting things and start hashtagging them, and then you'll get people to follow you and to know about your work. I'd say also maybe start coming to game jams and starting meeting people and to sort of find out what everybody else is doing. And the same with events like Dubludo. Come along, show your work at Dubludo, get feedback, and then that's the way you build up your professional network, and that's how you know what's going on in the industry.
I know I was probably like 14, so it was kind of early on. I realised that a hell of a lot more work goes into it. I don't know why, but I just thought it was kind of easy to make games when I was playing them, but now I see that it's actually quite difficult. Don't expect it to be you'll just fly through. It's kind of a lot of work. A lot of work. I wish I kind of had a basic understanding of the tools, because when I came into the course I didn't know how to use anything. I had done a bit of programming before, but I never programmed actual games. I just kind of programmed calculators and stuff.
It was more like a dream than anything. I started doing maps when I was pretty young on Warcraft 2 and Heroes of Might and Magic 2 editor. The industry when I started was different than now. In Quebec, it was pretty niche, except probably in Montreal. I knew about the industry in Quebec when my cousin told me that Ubisoft was opening some jobs in the testing department in 2005. I knew there that I wanted to be part of it. It was something like 2 months before I got the job. Yes, it's probably the same for everyone in the industry, I guess. I must say that it all looks so fun and great and beautiful when you see this from the outside, but it's not. I must say it's probably the opposite. I mean, it's still fun, it's better than flipping burgers in a fast food restaurant for sure, but we all know the problem. Crunches are bad for the body and for the mind. It happens on every project. This is a theme in the industry that nobody really gives a damn about. It's there and that's that. Also, the video games industry is really young. It's not like cinema, for example. What the film industry has experienced years ago to define how we do a movie, we are still trying to define that in the games industry. So that means that it's often a cluster of whatever works. It's pretty hard industry compared to what people usually believe. Be good. In fact, not just be good, be the best. Work hard, be on time, be professional. I seriously never thought about it. I being able to release a game by myself would probably be the best thing for me in the industry, outside of any company that I would work at.